Welcome, Michael, to onrichmondhill.com's Candidate Conversations.
Thanks very much, Marge. Really appreciate you having me here on today and to be able to give me this opportunity to talk about some of the important issues and for the great work that you do in our community every single day.
Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you for making the time for this. So I have 4 main questions for you, followed by 7 fun questions that really have the purpose of getting to know you. Let's start with the first question. What are your concerns with the climate crisis?
Well, Marge, look, climate change really impacts every aspect of our lives, every one of us. When you think about it, from our food supplies to local communities to all the resources, our homes, it has an impact of all of us. But I mean, if you look at the collective efforts of all Ontarians, we've been able to achieve more greenhouse gas emission reductions than any other province or territory in the country. In fact, we're well on our way to be able to meeting our 2030 emission reduction targets, which is 5% below the 2005 levels. And you may have heard the Premier say on many occasions, and I could not agree with him more. We can invest in our economy, Marge, and protect the environment at the same time. By working with our businesses to be able to reduce emissions, we can stimulate the economy and lower our carbon footprints. An example of this is our $500 million investment into Fasco, which is going to help them transition from coal furnaces to low emission electric ovens. And just to put that in perspective, March, that's going to mean removing about 1 million cars off the roads and reducing 3 million tons annually. So there's so much that can be done, but we got to do it in a way where it also helps our economy at the same time while protecting the environment. Another aspect of that is securing our first electric vehicle battery plants, Marge. I'm so proud of this initiative because we now have companies and businesses investing again in Ontario, a $5 billion investment, which is the largest in Canada's history for us to be able to make electric batteries for the cars of the future. You look at the investments by Ford in the Oakville assembly plant, which was $1.8 billion. Honda, GM, they're all investing. So what in electric batteries and electric cars, and what that's going to do, not only create good paying jobs in the province again, but it's going to impact and help our environment as well. So, and of course, fines to be able to hold polluters accountable. The restoration of an additional over 1,200 hectares of wetland. It's just all for us to be able to work with businesses and the people to help our economy as well as our environment at the same time.
Very good. Thank you for that response. Second question. The pandemic has exposed some cracks in our healthcare system. What changes would you like to see made to make things better?
Yeah, thanks for the question, March. I mean, first thing I want to do is I want to thank our healthcare workers. We can't thank them enough for the work that they did for us during the pandemic. And COVID showed that historically Ontario hadn't done enough to protect and to prepare us for crisis. I mean, you look at the stockpile of PPEs that were depleted or expired, March. The emergency protocols were underdeveloped and out of date. Our healthcare system was underfunded and understaffed, which is why we introduced a plan to stay open, which is a plan for future emergencies and crises by building up our healthcare workforce, expanding domestic production of critical supplies, and building hospital infrastructure. It's so important to talk about the critical supplies that we lacked during the pandemic, March. We did not have access to the things that we need because it wasn't prepared. We weren't prepared for it in the past. So those are things that we need to do. We got to make sure that we build up the healthcare workforce, recruiting more doctors, nurses, PSWs. Making sure we expand domestic production of critical manufacturing innovation right here in our province, so we're not reliant on other jurisdictions anymore. We're going to be investing 40 million over 10 years in more than 50 major projects. That's going to be at 3,000 new beds across the province. So all of these will help us to be able to prepare for future, emergencies if there will be.
Thank you for that response. Third question. What role should online learning have for students in elementary and high school?
Thank you. Look, I also want to, on this, I want to thank all the teachers, all the educators, the parents, all the students as well for the work, and the educational workers and the students, parents, families, all were resilient in responding to all the challenges and the changing dynamics during this pandemic. We asked school boards to allow for remote learning and for it to remain an option for students. But look, Marge, let me just be very clear. As the minister has said on a number of occasions, our priority has always been that we want students learning in the classroom in front of an educator. When you think about the mental, physical, and social, emotional health of a child, it's tied to being in school with peers, friends, in front of educators. But we appreciate that's a choice of a parent, and we'll make students make the best decision that meets for them and their families. But maintaining the quality of online learning remains a very high priority in the province, and we're investing more money to develop online learning infrastructure and expanding the year-round online tutoring as well to support in subjects like math, for example. It's so important. These are subjects that our students lack and they need to improve on. So investing in our education and making sure that at every option, resources are available to our students and our educators is a priority for our government.
Okay, thank you for that response. Last question. What can the provincial government do to make housing more affordable here in our riding?
Yeah, look, Marge, we know that Ontario is in a housing crisis, but everyone in this province, every single person deserves to have a place where they call home. And I have said this, the Premier has said this on many occasions, so has the Minister. The biggest issue that we're facing is the lack of supply to meet the demand of housing, of all types of housing. March, there simply isn't enough homes available in the province. We know that by the numbers. We introduced legislative, regulatory, and policy changes to be able to expedite the building of new homes. We're fixing barriers to be able to build new homes, while also protecting, it's very important to note, while also protecting the health and safety and the environment as well. You look at our housing supply plan, has helped over 100,000 new home starts in our province last year, March. That's the highest that it's been in 30 years in our province. The highest level of rental starts since 1987 at March. When I think of the More Homes for Everyone Act 2022, what it does is it reduces red tape, it removes barriers, and implements regulations to be able to protect home buyers as well, because it's very important. We look at the More Homes and More Choices Act, which is building more houses and all sorts of houses, including affordable houses that we need for Ontarians. But yes, it's a priority for us, and we'll make sure that we'll continue on the path to increase supply and make sure that all variety of homes are available for all Ontarians. That's those who have home ownership aspirations, those who want to rent. Affordable housing should all be available to anyone that wants to rent or buy a new home.
Thank you for that. Let's move into the second part of this, where we have these fun questions to sort of get to know you. First, what is your favorite color?
Oh, that's an easy one, Marge. It's always been blue. I've always been a blue because it started out because I was a big Maple Leafs fan, and they're a blue and white, so it was an easy one. Okay.
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Oh, it's another easy one. It's vanilla. I love vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven a motorcycle?
Not very well.
Okay.
But yes.
Okay. Do you ever wear socks that don't match?
No, I am probably the most boring person. All my socks are either navy blue or they're gray.
Okay. What is your favorite genre of music?
That's a tough one, Marge, to be honest with you, because I love music in general. I love all types of music, but I love Latin music. I love Persian music. I love classical music. There's so many. I just love music in general. I can't really pick one that would be my favorite.
Okay. Can you play any musical instruments?
Yes, but again, not very well. But yes, I have in the past. I have enjoyed playing a couple of instruments, but not well enough to be able to say I play the instrument.
Okay. Last question. Do you chew gum?
No, not at all. No,
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Michael. I wish you very well with this campaign and the results on June the 2nd.
thanks very much, Marge, for the opportunity, and again for the great work that you do in our community. And you know how appreciative I and many are to the great work that you do. Thank you, Marge.